The Infiniti QX60 for 26 gets some updates from the exterior, the wheel design, 4 trims to choose from with a new sport trim. The autograph, that's what we're showcasing in this mineral black. That's an upgraded color with the stone gray interior. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and I personally own a 2025. I'm on my 4th Infiniti QX60, and I'm gonna give you the full specs of the exterior. We're gonna go into the interior so you can see what you get with the autograph compared to the sport, the luxe, and the pure trim. We're gonna take it for a test drive so you can see what the power is underneath the hood. Now for 2025, they did a spin-off because they dropped the V6, adding the VC turbocharged 4-cylinder, which is a variable compression turbocharged engine. What that means is it adds an extra pulley, which gives you performance numbers like a naturally aspirated V6 when you're mashing on the gas. But if you're driving it more conservative, it's gonna be with the MPGs like a turbocharged 4-cylinder diesel, so sipping fuel. But unfortunately, when you put it paired with the QX60, it only gives you 1 MPG more than the V6 variant that we lost. Now the autograph, standard all-wheel drive, you're gonna notice the reworked LED headlights and daytime runnings, and you get the piano lights that go into the QX80 grille. All glossy black because this is the autograph, 6.7 inches of clearance, front parking sensors, a 360-degree reverse camera. This lower bit also has been reconfigured because this area here has more of like an exhaust bulge out on the 25 and under. They don't do that here. The only con that I have with this though is this matte black here because it's kind of like an afterthought. They didn't know what to do because they were focusing so much here in this little air pocket here. But I like the new logo. It goes inwards here. I kind of wish it was open, but it gives a motion style to this front fascia, especially the way everything is with that long overhang. But then they still leave the matte black for these fender pieces, which, come on guys, put some gloss black or the same color as the body. It would just make it look a lot more dynamic. We're at a $70,000 price. And the black grille with the dark chrome surroundings, that's only on the sport in this autograph trim. When you go into the luxe, it's gonna have a matte black surrounding as well as the pure. But unfortunately, when I got rid of my 23 variant to get the 25 that I have now, that is an autograph, and the other one was an autograph, it changed that power configuration to 268 horsepower and 286 pound-feet of torque, which is what we have still in today's variant. Now, the updates that we got, it is good, but I would have liked to have some updated performance. Maybe give us the V6 engine as an option or putting it on the sport trim and on this trim, because we lost 27 horsepower, but we gained 14 pound-feet of torque. It's still paired to the 9-speed automatic transmission, which was a plus because when it came to the 2021 variant that got the refresh, we changed that CVT transmission. We also upped the horsepower and we got a 9-speed automatic transmission. But now they're going backwards because obviously the administration at the time was saying for the MPGs, you had to get a certain class. Unfortunately, it took so long to put this engine in this variant. Sadly, I don't see a V6 coming. In every QX60 get 20-inch wheels, but when you go sport or this autograph, you're going to get these glossy black wheels. I think that it changes the whole tone to this vehicle. It makes it look a little bit more dynamic. These here, this is an extra charge. You get that satin aluminum or the dark chrome down here, that's gonna be on the autograph as well as around all the window trims, and they finally listened to me because they have an autograph badging here that mimics the QX80. The roof rails are not gonna be raised, so they'll be here. You'll have to actually buy the crossbars, and all QX60s will have one moonroof and a pano moonroof right behind it, but it doesn't quite go to the 3rd row. With power folding side view mirrors, they're heated. With the LED turn signal that's integrated, you have the walkaway that will lock and unlock the doors. Now, going against competition, I did look at an Acura MDX. I actually went a little bit further. I went to the Type S, the Advance, because I wanted all the bells and whistles, but I just couldn't justify an $80,000 to $88,000 price when this is under $70,000. Because the performance, it's a lot more there, but the luxury and soft materials is a little bit better here. I also changed the wheels. I put 22-inch wheels and we powder coated the brake calipers. You got 4 pistons in the front. You don't really need that. It's around 4,747 pound curb weight, which is pretty good for a third row SUV. If you need a larger, they have the QX80. Now, sadly, Infiniti has chopped the roster because they only have 2 vehicles that they're selling, because the QX50 and 55, we've lost them. And we also lost the Q50 and the Q60 sedan and coupe, leaving us only with this in the talks of a QX65, which would be a coupe style of this. I think it would look amazing, especially with the updates that they did. It's subtle enough that you know the difference, especially as an owner, but when you look at it as a buyer, it can become a little bit more striking than the competition. I didn't look at Lexus too much. I do like Lexus, and I've done a lot of reviews on them. I like the TX. I just don't like all the plastic aesthetics in the interior. I feel Infiniti goes that extra step when it comes to luxury. And when you're considering Nissan opposed to Infiniti, a lot of people are gonna say, well, with Nissan for 2025, you can get a V6. But that may not be the case for the 2026 variant that is coming, because we just got the update for this. So what are we gonna get for that one? The rear gets some touch-ups also. It's LED taillights, that's standard. You can already tell this Infiniti print is new. It's a little bit more thin and thicker. Down here on the QX60, as well as the 4-wheel drive, that's also new. So the badging has been changed, and the lower bumper is all new, because on the 25 and under, there would be a little area here, which is basically this silver, that would look like exhaust. You have dual exhaust. I don't know why they don't just make them where they come out. It would just look a little bit more nice. 6,000 pounds of towing, this is all-wheel drive. Otherwise, front-wheel drive configurations at 3,500 pounds. And because it's the autograph, you get the two-tone. That's another way you could tell an autograph, not just by the badging. And they do that for the 25 and under. Autograph gets a digital rear view mirror on top of the 360-degree reverse camera. Because this is somewhat of a refresh, this should be tucked underneath this lower roof spoiler. It would have cleaned up the whole rear. And as for Mazda, the CX-90, it's a great vehicle, but let's face it, it's a lot longer than this. I wanted something a little bit smaller, because if I'm gonna go to that length of a vehicle, I may want to entertain the QX80, which this is like a baby brother of it now, because it took all of those styling attributes and threw it into one of the most selling vehicles for Infiniti. Which way would you go? The competition or to Infiniti? And if you're new to the channel, click the subscribe, click the like, leave a comment. All of these clicks and actions help with the algorithm so we can bring all the latest, greatest vehicles on Hawkeye Rides. Power liftgate, and you can also kick to open. Eventually it'll work. Let's try it. There it is. That's going to go into 14.5 cubic feet of storage. If you get the lighting package, this will light up. So you'll actually have lights, and it'll be a gloss black. I have it on my own. You have a 12-volt charger here underneath the floor. You get some storage in the dividers. Split fold the rear bench. Just pull these here, push this, throw it down at a 60-40 split. That's going to increase cargo to 41.6 cubic feet. Now, one thing you can do is you can electronically fold these back up when you go into the autograph. But I kind of wish you could do electronic fold down also. You still have the actual handle, so you could do it manually. Unfortunately, for the third row, you have to come back here, fold it down, and that will maximize cargo capacity to 75.4 cubic feet, which is the same as the 25 variant. The key fob to the new QX60 autograph. Power seat adjustment, heated, ventilated massage seats. With the autograph badging, it's quilted, perforated, contrast stitch piping. 20 speakers through Klipsch is only here. 16 speakers through Klipsch is going to be on the Sport and the Lux. The Pure will have 9 speaker setup, memory for the driver and the passenger. And you're not going to notice too much of a difference. One thing to note is this trim is the only way you can get the semi-aniline leather. Otherwise, it's tailor fit. For the passenger side, it's the same with leg space, and you'll still have the pass-through, but they changed the wood. Now you have some lines, and they also changed this up a little bit. So the autograph has a little bit of things that will distinguish it from the other trims. But what I dislike right off the bat is that wood trim there. It doesn't really match any of the rest of the wood in the interior. Let's fire it up. The push button start is now black. Tri-climate control settings, that's standard on all trims. You get the haptic, which means you can hear it. And now we have Google-based maps. Google Assist, Google Play, Google Store, everything is through Google, which a lot of people like that, especially if you are using your smartphone. It's the same navigation, so easier for integration. Wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming, Bluetooth audio. For some odd reason, we're not getting the maps to pull up. It is a new car, they just PDI'd it. We're gonna throw it into reverse so you can see the 360-degree reverse camera. This has also been reworked. You'll have the sensors here, which is the same as the 25 and under for the front and the rear. But this area here has been dramatically changed. You can tell by the cleanliness of it. Plus we have an inside view, which we never had that. And you have just your reverse camera, and you can turn this on or off for the automatic braking or your rear sensor. So I like that you could do it here. You could do it here too, so you'll just click the OK button. Unfortunately, I can't get the screen to work, which kind of sucks because that's what people want to see right now. Going into your driver mode select, and you got a total of 5 different driving modes. Now the gauge cluster itself has been redesigned also, so you can change a lot of different things. You can actually add the navigation in here, which I don't know if it's going to show it. Leather wrap steering wheel, it's 3-spoke multi-function. It's the same thing except this area here has been changed, the symbol itself. The plastic was implemented with the refresh back in 2021. Plastic paddle shifts for around 70 grand. Some of these things they need to, fix. We get the flat bottom, and then they put the glossy black here. There isn't a lot of gloss black, so I appreciate that. It's really just here on that area. And the fingerprints, you really see it more or less right here. But the nice thing is you can have the navigation here and here, which you couldn't have in the prior. Digital rear view mirror, and it's also a auto dimming rear view mirror with the home link. Wireless charging pad is standard on all trims. 2 USB-C ports. It's going to be soft. Opens up into a pretty deep storage pocket. You got 2 card holders, a 12-volt pin holder, another card holder. And you're noticing it's a 3-tone. So you're going to have the blue, you have the gray, and like a beige. And that pattern carries on through the whole scheme of the interior. You can order things like a dash cam for the front and rear. I believe it's around $500. With a full pass-through, and check out the leg space that you have. And headroom at 6'3", I have at least, I would say, a foot of headroom. Now I do have the seat in the lower position. Door panel and dash configuring together nicely with the wood. It just on this side, it kind of stands out a little bit too much. And this also bulges out. It should kind of be a little bit more flush. But that's what happens when you're trying to put the stitch work in the wood. That's why in some reviews I say that I like it to do this round effect, kind of like this, because it fits a little bit more flush. One touch up and down for all the windows. They're acoustic windows as well as the front windscreen. Soft to touch here with a medium-sized storage pocket and a beverage holder here. For the back seats, this is the opening that you have to fit 2 more with the captain seat configuration, which starts on the sport trim, but this quilted inlays and this autograph, it's only to the autograph trim. Manual sunshades for the price. This should be power by now. You're gonna have the same 3-tone, soft to touch with a smaller storage pocket. These illuminate, no grab handle here. Somewhere, there it is right here. You get the air vents in the ceiling, and you can get some vitamin D back here. Leg space behind me, it's carved out. You got a storage area here, and you have your tri-climate control here with your heated rear seats, home plug, 2 USB-C ports, cup holders, a storage bin. This can be lifted up and taken out, and you have the adjustments for the captain seats, as well as you can recline with these captain seats, and you can also scoot this back. And you can also scoot this forward, which I wouldn't be able to fit here, but it would give optimal leg space for the 3rd row. And sitting back here, you're gonna sit higher than you do in the front. You're probably about 1.5 feet higher up, making it where you see over the dashboard and over the infotainment screen. Even though that's not integrated in the dash, it makes it look a little bit more cleaned up. And even headroom, I still got about 4 inches back here. 3rd row access, push the button, it's gonna move forward. You can push it a little bit more so. That's the opening that I have. You know my height, I've already said it. Getting back here, you're gonna have 2 cup holders. You'll have a USB-C port. But unlike the 25 and under, you're not gonna have it here. That's definitely a con to me because they stripped that out and give me 2 cup holders. The air vent is here, which kind of appreciated. It's pretty hot in Florida today. Headroom, I have about an inch. Now you can recline these seats back, which would give me less than an inch. And we can fold these seats back, about an inch of knee space, and you can see I'll be sharing some. If the seat is back, there's no way I could fit back here, and you got a little tray, but it doesn't really hold anything even though it's downwards like that. If you slam on the brake, your phone is gonna go all the way to the front. Now the suspension is also the same, so you have a multi-link front and rear suspension. It's all independent. But we're losing 27 horsepower with 268 horsepower. We are gaining 14 pound-feet of torque, which we did this back in 2025, which gives us 286 pound-feet of torque for this 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. I'm not a huge fan of these turbocharged 4-cylinder engine vehicles. I just have to state that right off the bat. The last vehicle we did was a buyback, and I was a little bit concerned about buying this vehicle because of the VC turbocharged engine, but I said, you know what, I'm a YouTuber. It's good that I see the longevity of this engine. We have the auto hold engaged, 6.7 inches of clearance. And one thing you're gonna notice right off the bat is you're going to be hitting 3 to near 4 RPMs all the time to get the vehicle motivated. Sadly, that's what's gonna happen because this is a Turbo 4. I mean, we have 4,774 pound curb weight roughly. It's still a lot of weight to put on that engine that comes out of a QX60 that debuted back in 2019. Now, when it came out, that was an awesome engine. The first gen did have some issues with shrapnel, but now they say that it's pretty bulletproof for the most part. I have noticed with my personal 2025 that you feel glitch, like you'll feel jerks like this when you're around 8 to 9 miles per hour because it's trying to find that variable compression ratio, meaning should it be more performance or should it be a little bit more eco-friendly? Smooth vehicle, 20-inch wheels. It's across all 4 trims. Trying to look ahead. Unfortunately, when it's under 7 inches of clearance, it's not going to be as tall as some of these vehicles. Getting onto the interstate, that's where that variable compression ratio comes into play, and it is okay to hit a higher RPM because it's a turbocharge. You don't want to have a lot of carbon buildup. Road noise filters in, the sound deadening has been improved a little bit, but it's not a huge difference from the 2025. Let's rock and roll. I guess the only issue that I have with the QX60 is them going to a Turbo 4 variant. If they would option a V6, I think this would be a steal because you're under $70,000. You're getting 7 USB-C ports that's going to be found throughout the interior of the cabin. Everything's Google-based. Wireless charging pad, that's standard. And it's a smooth driving vehicle. Now going against competition, Acura, it's not going to be as smooth as this, especially if you go into the Type S. It's going to be a little bit more rigid. Lexus, it's going to have the most butter smooth. But as you're noticing, look, you're always going to hear that engine. Even on the interstate, it just makes a loud noise. It's going to be more at the 2.2 to 2.5 RPM, whereas on the V6, it was pretty much under 2 RPMs. So if you're going 75, 80 miles per hour, you wouldn't hear the engine. Here, you're always hearing the engine. Interior comfort is one of the best, and it's the least with plastic materials in the interior, and almost the least, I would say the least with glossy black everywhere, because they don't go crazy with it like every other vehicle. And the biggest twist I will say for the QX60 is the safety, because they piloted a lot of this safety that they have kind of discontinued. So it's not discontinued, but it doesn't work unless you're going over a certain speed or you're engaged with the autopilot 2.0 or whatever the heck they call it, where it has the steering and lane keep assist. Before, in the 24 variants and under, if you were to go on and hit this line, it would push you back by adding brake pressure in the rear brake pad in the internal part, so it just pushes you back a little bit. And it would do the same thing if you're going on the left, but it would be on the left brake on the inner brake pad. Now, that only works when you're engaged with the self-driving or the ProPilot Assist 2.0. Also, the frontal collision, it'll detect and beep, but it's not going to apply the brake unless you're with the ProPilot or you're pretty much on an accident situation. The seat belts indexing, they no longer do that. They only index if you are in a crashing position, which all these safety features, they're still the same, but they've limited them. I don't like that because we've increased the price, and if I knew that going in from my 23, I probably would not have bought a 25 variant, because I personally took it to the dealership and said, what the heck is going on? This feature don't work, that feature don't work, and they said, no, it does work. They just kind of muted the feature. You have to go a certain amount of speed, and you also have to have it activated for the ProPilot Assist. What the hell? Why are they going backwards with the safety features when they were going so innovated with the safety features before? And even with this turbocharged 4-cylinder, it is a lot more refined in the sense than just a standard turbocharge. But the difference here is you will feel a little bit of, you have to get used to it, because it's a pedal feel, because it's changing the compression, making it more performance or make it more eco-friendly. And unfortunately, it's a Turbo 4. So when you do mash on the gas, you're gonna feel a little bit more of the weight on the pedal. But are these updates enough to push you into a new QX60 opposed to the competition? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out this next video right here.